Hello and welcome to episode 140 of the podcast. I have got a lot to share today. Last week I think I had 5 projects on the needles that I kind of confessed to. They'd been on the needles for a while, apart from one. One was a new cast on last week. Last week? Yes, I think it was last week, which I already finished. And then I finished 2 other projects last week. I cast on 2 new ones. And there's one project that hasn't seen any action at all. And that is my Farewell cushion, pink and grey one. I've not touched that, and I probably won't be touching it till after Christmas now, I don't think. But I've got lots to share today, so I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. So before we start, don't forget I am taking part in the Fast Enough Yarn Along. The discount portion of the event ends on the 5th of December, which is, I believe that's the day this video is out. What's the day today? Yes, tomorrow. I'm filming this on the Wednesday. So tomorrow, 5th of December, which is the day this video is live. The discount code, which I'll put on the screen as well, is FO2024. So FO2024, all one word, 25% off all my patterns and ebooks on Ravelry and PayHip. I'll link everything below and put all the details below. Also go to the Fast Enough Yarn Along website, because there are events as part of the Yarn Along. So there are there's a Discord channel. I have tried Discord before and just couldn't get into Discord. They have some like designer panels, which I had planned to sign up for, but then the email came through and I was really busy and I just didn't get around to doing it. And on their Instagram channel, they got some like bingo things and different events going on. So do go to their website. Do look them up on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, just search Fast Enough Yarn Along and you'll find them. And check out the events if you like kind of interactive online events. Also, my 3 Advent patterns, which I talked about in episode 1 of Vlogmas. I'll link that at the end. But it's my new one, Rainbow Dreams. I'll put a picture of them on the screen as well. And the Fantasy Brush Wrap and the Poinsettia Blanket. They're all suitable for Advent calendar yarn. So if you've got a yarn Advent, they all take 4-ply, but you can probably adjust it for different weight yarns. And the patterns for all of those are 25% off until the 15th of December. 25% off until 15th of December, and I'll put the code on the screen because I didn't write it down. I think it's Advent 24. I'll pop it on the screen and details will be below as well. And I do have videos on the Poinsettia blanket and the Fancy Brush blankets. I'll link those below, and I talk about all 3 of them, including the new Rainbow Dreams in the Vlogmas episode 1, which was out on the 1st of December. So I'll link that below as well. Okay, so what are we going to start with? Because I've got so much to share with you. Let's start with some of the finished objects first. So first, I finished Simon's hat. I need to actually do a short on this, because I said last week that I was going to do a short on what I knitted in the cinema, which I haven't done. But I talked about that last week. That stretch I knitted when we watched Wicked, which I talked about last week. And I dropped the stitch really badly and I picked it up. I was going to do a video on that. I think I showed in the last episode what it looked like. Basically, I dropped it. Normally, I can pick it back up in the cinema, but I couldn't. And I think it's because it got slightly kind of tangled with the stitches next to it. So I couldn't pick it up. So I left it and I just picked up the strand that went between 2 stitches and carried on knitting, just so I would have that column continuing up. And my intention was to film a little reel to put out on Instagram and as a YouTube short, showing how I fixed it, but I just didn't get a time and I wanted to finish the hat. I wanted to finish the hat, and it'll become obvious in a second why I wanted to finish it. So I ended up one evening just fixing it, and you can see it a little bit where it is. So let me just show you. So I don't know if you can see, but you can see here. So it is a little bit obvious when you find it, but I don't think when you are wearing it. I also don't know whether Simon prefers to wear it with the decreases on the outside or flip it inside out and wear it with the increases on the outside. I got a feeling that that's the way he's got it on his other hat that I knitted him. But it's basically a long tube. So you start with increases on one end to shape the crown, and then you knit a long straight bit, and then you decrease to shape the crown on the other side. So, and then you put it inside itself to start, but it takes a little bit of kind of fiddling around with it to get it straight. With the other hat I knitted Simon, I actually ended up sewing the two crowns together because he found it a little bit annoying. He tried this on. It's a little bit smaller than the one I did for him before, but I'm wondering whether that's just because the other one is stretched a little bit with wear. So this is a little bit big for me because I would knit a size smaller with me with 8 stitches less, although I can wear it if it's fine. But Simon said it's a little bit bigger than mine. I do quite like it. I like the colour. And that's going to go in Simon's stocking. So although he knows about it and he's tried it on, it is for his stocking. The yarn I use is Manos Alegria. So Manos Uruguay Alegria in the Orquidea colourway. I'm assuming that's orchid in Spanish, which I probably should know as I'm learning Spanish, but it's a beautiful colourway. I think I do have some of this in my online shop if you're interested. I used one skein minus that much. I will be writing up the pattern for this. I'm halfway through it, so I'm going to try and finish it next week and get it off to my tech editor before Christmas, so hopefully I can release it in January. I wouldn't say it's a quick hat to knit, but I am enjoying it, so I did enjoy knitting it. I cast on for that before I left for Norway in November. I knitted the crown shaping before I left, and I knitted I think nearly half of the straight bit while I was travelling to Norway. Then I didn't touch it at all in Norway, and on the way back I knitted quite a bit, and then I finished it since I came home, but I haven't been knitting on it a lot. Now, talking about hats, Simon suggested I knit a hat for each of my daughters for their Christmas stockings, but I am a bit reluctant to knit stuff for people unless I know they actually want it. I have done that before, knitted stuff for people, actually people who've asked me to knit them stuff, and then I've never seen them wear it, and I'm talking like fairly close family members, not on my side of the family, but on my husband's side of the family. And so I don't tend to knit stuff for people unless I know they want to wear it. And my daughters are both a bit sensitive to wool, so they can find wool a bit itchy, but I have knitted them both hats before and they've liked them, and I deliberately chose quite soft yarn. So we talked to them a few days ago. I asked them, you know, I've knitted this hat for Dad. It's like a double layer thing. It's quite thick. It's really nice. Would you like me to knit you one for Christmas? It's quite a lot of work, so if you don't want it, I'd rather not knit it. I don't know if I said exactly that, but if you like one, I will knit it, but if you don't, I don't want to knit it, because it is quite a lot of work and I don't want to knit it if they don't like it. So they said yes, they'd both like it. So we tried to discuss colours. I chose some yarns and sent it to them. And I cast on for one for my oldest daughter, and she will need the same size as Simon. Simon's got quite a big head. I have a big head, but Simon's head's bigger than mine, and Vanessa's head is probably similar size to Simon's. But the yarn I'm knitting with is slightly thinner, so I'm using Manos Uruguay Fino. I was trying to find something from my stash to use, but I just couldn't find any suitable colour. It seems I got almost only pink and purple in my stash. Not quite true, but Vanessa's got a grey coat, and I think like a sort of maybe a green one similar to this, I think, a little bit darker, and she's got a black and white scarf. And so I chose one of the colours I picked up was this charcoal grey, dark grey colour from Manos Uruguay. It's Fino in the colourway Morning. Not a very cheerful colourway, but I've cast on and I've nearly finished the crown shaping. I'm going to increase, I think I've got one more increase round to do to get to the same number of stitches I use for Simon. But because this yarn is a little bit thinner, it's a singles yarn, and let's just compare them side by side. And it has more meterage per 100 grams. So I think it has like 450 meters. No, I thought I had the label here, but I don't. I think it's like 450 meters, whereas Allegria has 405 meters. So it is a little bit thinner, but I don't know. Oh, that's easy to see. Yeah, it looks a little bit thinner. So I may need to do another 8 increases, which is one more increase round. So I'm going to increase to the size I think it's going to be, which I think is one more increase round. And then I'm just going to measure it up against Simon's hat. And if it's the same size, I'll keep going. And then I'll get him to try it on when I've knitted about that much of the straight bit. It's long enough to kind of come down to here on his head. And then if I'm happy, I'll keep going. But the thing is, I've got to knit 2 of these. So Emily, I think probably her head is similar size to mine. So that's the size smaller, 8 stitches less per round once I finish the increases. But Christmas is like 3 weeks away. I looked yesterday. I think I got like 10 days for each hat if I'm going to finish it by Christmas. So I do need to crack on with it. This isn't going to just be an out and about type knitting. I do need to try and work on it a bit every day. So once I finish the crown shaping, I'm going to knit for half an hour, set my timer, put a marker in, work out how much I can knit in half an hour, how many rounds, and then work out how much I need to knit a day to finish it. I think I need to finish this one by the end of next week, so I can get Emily's finished for Christmas as well. So I wound the yarn for Emily's, but I've left it downstairs. Had a bit of a winding session yesterday because I had to wind this yarn for this hat, and then I'm knitting something for a friend for Christmas, which I need to finish by to the middle of next week. So I need to cast that on tonight. I had planned to cast on last night, but I decided to get this hat going instead. So I think I'll cast on for that tonight. And I had to wind the yarn for that as well. And then Emily came back to me with her yarn choice, so I wound that as well. So I had a bit of a winding session yesterday. So let's talk about the other thing I've finished. I finished another beaded clutch. So my original beaded clutch is a Glamour Clutch. This is this one. I used it when I knitted the new clutch, so I've still got some stuff in here. Let's take that out and I can put this away. So that's the Glamour Clutch, and this is the new clutch. It doesn't have a name yet. I meant to like steam press it before I did the lining and the clutch frame, and I forgot. It's a left of the yarn. I used a dark purple for the lining. I have some of that purple. So what I do is I do little packs on my website with the fabric for the lining. It's cut into the large piece that you need. You need to just cut it up into the individual pieces for the lining and with the clutch frame. And I have them in the Glamour Clutch size at the moment, which also fit my colour clutch. I used felt because it's much easier to sew with if you're not good at sewing, especially if you want to hand sew it, because it's not as slippery, and because it's a little bit stiffer, it has a little bit more body to it. You don't need to worry about interfacing and all that kind of stuff. If you use regular cotton, I would put some stiff interfacing or like wadding on it, just to give the bag a little bit more structure and body. But I use this dark purple, so I'm going to put some packs up before this video goes out with the dark purple lining and the clutch frames for this size. This one I got a grey one. I got some grey, I got some pink, and I think I got some lavender already on the website. And I have loads of the yarn, so I use the Hjertegarn Merino Cotton. I have loads of that on the website in different colours, and I think it's just easier to let people choose their own combination of yarn and colours. For this one you need 2 balls of yarn, 2 50-gram balls, 1 pack of beads, the pattern, the clutch frame, the lining, and you can get all that on my website. If you do go on the website and you add 2 balls of yarn, the beads, the clutch frame and lining kit, I will send you the free pattern. Let's make that an offer till the end of December. Let me just write that down because I'll also put that in my newsletter. So you don't need a code, but I will email you the pattern. So if you choose 2 balls of Hjertegarn Merino Cotton, 1 pack of beads for the Glamour Clutch, or if you want it a colour clutch, it's 3 balls of yarn in total, 2 of the main colour, 1 of the contrast colour, and the clutch frame and fabric felt lining kits, or just the clutch frame if you don't want the lining. I will send you the pattern for free. Let's make that valid until the 20th of December. Put that in my newsletter this week as well and below. So yeah, that's the Glamour Clutch. I haven't got a name yet. I meant to, before I did the lining, I meant to steam press it and I forgot. And I'm a bit annoyed because it is a little bit uneven. So I might try and steam press it with the, it's easier to do before you put the lining inside. But I'm very happy with it. The lining ended up slightly big, so somewhere my measurements went slightly wrong. So I need to double check that for the final pattern. But I'm hoping to finish writing up the pattern on Thursday and get it off to my tech editors. We might get the pattern out before Christmas, but it might be January. Just compare the sizes. So it's not a lot shorter. So it is the same height as the Glamour Clutch. This is a little bit shorter. Can you see that? About 3/4, I don't know. So yeah, but it did take a lot more beads. So this one actually took 2 packs of beads. And that's why I did these little straight bits at the top. I could have finished it after here actually, but I wanted it the same size, same height as the other one. But I didn't want to do a whole nother diamond because I would have had to break into a 3rd bag and I didn't want to do that. So I'm really happy with that. I'm actually thinking, because I have this yarn in black, and I am thinking about knitting it in black with a variety of different colour beads, or maybe mixing 2 or 3 colour beads. But it'll have to wait probably till after Christmas or between Christmas and New Year. I don't know, but I really fancy it in black. I love this blue colour. This is the colour 1620. 1620, and it's really pretty. Last week I taught a mosaic knitting workshop at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy, and it seemed like longer ago, but I think it was last week. And before the workshop I cast on for a new mosaic design. I wanted to just use 2 balls of Hjertegarn Merino Cotton, 1 in each colour. I used pink and light grey. Really happy with it. When I finished knitting it, it was a little bit short. I wanted it to just wrap around my neck and then overlap and put a short pin on it. It was too short for that when I finished knitting it, but I have blocked it. It isn't quite dry yet because I finished it like last week and I only just blocked it last night. So it isn't quite dry yet. If it wasn't for the fact that I wanted to show it off today, I probably wouldn't even have blocked it last night because I just wasn't really in the mood for blocking anything. But I did block it last night. It's grown quite a bit, so I think it'll be okay, but it wasn't quite dry this morning, so I propped the blocking board up in front of my radiator, hoping it would dry, but I haven't been downstairs yet. I'm filming this quite early, it's 9:30 now. So once I walk the dog later and I come back, I'll see if it's dry and unpin it, and then I'll just film a little clip of me wearing it, which I'll insert here so you can see what it looks like. After lunch on Wednesday, and my mosaic scarf is dry. So that's where I was last week. So when I filmed last week, which I guess was Wednesday, that's the bit I'd knitted. So I've knitted all this. So it's, oh, I got a lot of knitting done. I can't remember which day I cast this off, but it's a while ago. But I really liked the pattern, but it's not doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So I don't like I love mosaic knitting. It looks great. I love the texture and the colour work. I don't like the back of it. It looks really ugly. So what I was hoping this would do was wrap around like that. Hang on, I was hoping it would wrap around like that and then fasten it with a short pin. So I'm just going to use this stick to fasten it. That was kind of what I'd hoped it would do. But I feel like maybe I made it slightly too wide. Originally I made it with 1 repeat less. So how many repeats have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So originally I did 4 and I thought that was too narrow, so I ripped it out and added a repeat actually during my workshop last week. So I'm thinking maybe a narrow one would have been better. But I'm also thinking, because I feel like it could maybe do with being like a smidgen longer, because what I was thinking was you could fasten it with a short pin or a short stick, or you could just like fold it inside your coat. So if you've got a coat with like a V-neck shaping, which a lot of women's coats are, you could, or men's coats as well, I think, you know, like the kind of more fancier coats, you could just have it inside your coat. But I feel it's like a little bit short for that, and also I feel like it's a bit too severe here. So what I'm thinking about doing is actually ripping out both ends. So on the cast on end, which is this end, I would need to basically cut a row here and then knit in the opposite direction, which wouldn't affect the way it looks, I don't think. So I'd probably do that bit first, just to make sure it doesn't affect the way it looks, but I don't think it will. And then basically angle it down. So basically bring it down to a point or a curve. And that would allow me to add a little bit of length as well, because I would have a bit more yarn, and do that on both sides. Then it would come down a little bit more, and I think it would sit a bit better on me. So I might try and do that over the weekend. But I love the stitch pattern. I used pink and a very pale pink, bright pink and a very pale pink, from Hjertegarn Merino Cotton. They're both in my online shop. That pattern will also come at some point, probably not till after Christmas, but I wanted just a quick, easy pattern, mosaic pattern that wouldn't take too long. I'm thinking specifically for like workshops and things, so something that wasn't too big, but that you can make longer if you wanted to. But I'm really happy with it. I'm really enjoyed making it, and I do kind of want to cast on for another mosaic pattern fairly soon. Okay, so let's talk about another project I worked on, but not for I worked on it for a couple of days last week, but I haven't worked on it for a little bit. When I finished the mosaic pattern and the clutch bag, I finished Simon's hat, and well, I finished that over the weekend. But last week, once I finished the mosaic pattern and the clutch bag, I decided to, because I was waiting to start the advent pattern, but I need to do some swatching and stuff, so I didn't get around to starting that straight away. But I did a little bit of work on my brioche pattern. So this is going to be another clutch bag. It'll be the same size as the Glamour Clutch. It'll have, so that's the base. Then on one side it'll have the pink as the main color, and on the other side it'll have the lavender as the main color. I did one that's similar to this for Knitting Magazine a few months ago. This one will be a little bit bigger. I don't know if this is going to be just a plain brioche pattern or whether I will add a bit of shaping to it. I haven't quite decided yet. I didn't do much planning when I started it. I just cast on. So this is kind of on hold for the time being till I finish a few other things, the hats, the advent pattern, things like that. So I probably won't get back to this till around Christmas time, maybe. We'll see. But I did do some work on this after last week, so I thought I'd better show that off this week. And then we got the pattern I've been working on the most this week, which is actually probably going to get ripped out today, I think. One of my advent calendars is from Discreet Unicorn. It's a DK yarn, and I've decided to do a stranded colour work bag. A lot of advent patterns are shawls. Some do sweaters. Sweaters are a bit more difficult, I think, because depending on your size, the colour placement may look different than the sample. And I like, if you get a 4-ply or sock yarn advent calendar, 20 grams a day, 24 skeins, that's 480 grams. That's probably enough to knit a sweater for me, but if you're larger than me, it may not be enough, and if you're smaller than me, it'd probably be too much. But I thought, I haven't seen a lot of colour work as advent patterns. I've seen it used in some sweaters, but I thought not everyone wants to knit a garment, so I decided to design a bag. I've gotten really into designing bags lately, and isn't that looking bright? So I love it. That's just colour 1 and 2 and 3, so day 1, 2 and 3. I didn't really do a lot of maths before I started, because I got 20 grams of each colour, but it's DK, so I was like, I don't really know how much far that'll go, which I should have been able to work out, but I didn't. I did 3 rounds of day 1, 3 rounds of day 2, then 3 days of round 1, 3 days of day 2, and then I started on day 3. But the problem is, I sat down and actually weighed how much I've used. So I've done 6 rounds in total of colour 1. I've still got 13 grams left. So I'm not going to use up each 20-gram ball if I want to get through all the colours, which I kind of do. I can see that there might be some, if there's a lot of oranges somewhere in there, then some of those may come out. If it's just 1 or 2, depending on how orange they are, I might leave it in, but I don't love orange. So I can see that maybe the old colour that I'll take out. But I actually did some maths yesterday, and I worked out that if I do 3 or 4 rounds of each colour, I can get through all 24 colours and the bag be about the size I want. I think the bag will then be about 32 centimetres tall, and I think that's tall enough because it's quite wide. and I don't want it like a tote bag. So I don't know, I kind of don't want to rip it out, but I'm thinking about going back to where I finished colour 1. Didn't take me long to knit this up. Can't remember when I started, but it didn't take me long at all. What's the date? It's the 4th. So yeah, I probably only started this on, I think I finished the base on Monday and I started the colour work on Monday, and I didn't work on it at all yesterday because I was thinking about ripping it out. So I thought rather than rip it out, I'll talk about it on the podcast and I'll rip it out later today. So I'm basically going to go back to like here, I think, then go into colour 2, then colour 3, I think. But it's sparkly DK merino. Don't think the sparkle is like too obvious, but I do quite like it. So let me show you all the colours. So day 1, day 2, day 3, which is still attached to my knitting, and then even though it's only the 4th today because of filming Vlogmas and things, I am actually opening up a little bit ahead of time. So I'm going to show you up to day 5, and this is out on the 5th. So if you haven't opened yours yet, this is going out in the afternoon of the 5th. So if you have this advent calendar and you haven't opened day 4 and 5, look away now. But that's day 4. So you can see the colour is changing a little bit. There's still some blues in that one. And then that's day 5. So you can see the progression. So my plan is this afternoon is to rip back to where I finished colour 1, maybe do another round. I don't know whether to do 3 or 4 rounds of each colour. I might do 4 rounds of each colour and then do colour 2 and then try and see if I can catch up, so that by Friday I'm teaching all this. I'm not going to get a lot of knitting done, but I want to see if I can catch up, so by like Saturday I'm up to date and I'm on day 7. I'm not going to show you the other advents I've got because I do talk about them quite a lot in my Vlogmas videos, and I'm trying not to make the Vlogmas and the podcast overlap too much, because I think that most of you will probably watch both. Some of you may not like Vlogmas. I saw a thread on Reddit the other day, last week I think it was, where he was like, oh, who's dreading Vlogmas? And some people really hate Vlogmas, but also some of you have commented saying you really like Vlogmas. So I guess it depends. Some YouTubers do Vlogmas videos every day, and it's more like a daily vlog thing, and I don't tend to do that because I just don't have time to film every day, and I don't think what I do is that interesting. And my house isn't that photogenic, so I'm not doing every day. I'm doing Vlogmas videos on Tuesday and Saturday. The first one went out on Sunday, and then there was one on Tuesday this week, and the next one will be out on Saturday. In the first one, I talked about my Advent designs and my Advent calendars, and I opened day 1 because I went out on the 1st of December, so that was Sunday. The Tuesday one, I shared some of the stuff we did over the weekend. We went to Coteale House in Cornwall, National Trust property. They have a beautiful flower garland. If you live anywhere near Southeast Cornwall, it is worth going to visit. If you're not a National Trust member, you do have to pay, and it can get a bit busy. We went on Saturday. We planned to go the weekend before, but the weather was horrible, so they closed because of the weather. The weather was still really horrible on Saturday. It was very murky and dark, and the hall is quite dark when it's dark outside, so I struggled a bit to get video, but I did get some quite good photos. The flower garland, it doesn't look particularly Christmassy, but they basically grow the flowers over the summer on the estate, pick them, dry them, build a garland, and it's a huge amount of work. And they have a little display where they show you all the different flowers that are in the garland. We really enjoyed seeing it. Most of the house is closed. There's only the great hall downstairs where the garland is, and the kitchen, and like a study library little room, which I think is normally closed. That was open with like a little Christmas scene set up, and then you can walk around all the outside bits of gardens and stuff. We didn't do that a lot because the weather was a bit horrible. Then we went to the coffee shop because that's what we do. We also did go to Buckland Abbey in Devon on the edge of Dartmoor on Sunday. Weather was a little bit better, but it was a bit more showery, but it was sunny spells. They usually have really nice Christmas displays as well. It's going to be in the Vlogmas video that's coming out this Saturday. That is it for this episode, not too long. Hopefully there isn't too much overlap between the podcast and the Vlogmas videos. So if you haven't watched the Vlogmas videos, do go and take a look. It's only 2 episodes so far. Next one, as I said, will be out on Saturday, so I hope you will watch that. If you haven't signed up to my newsletter, make sure you sign up. I will link everyone I've talked about below this video. If you're interested in any of my patterns, they're always linked below. I sell on Ravelry and PayHip. Don't forget the Fasten Off Yarn Along discount, which ends tonight. The event, the knit along, crochet along, yarn along part of the event will carry on till the end of December. So if you enjoy kind of online knit along type things, do join in with that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.